everybody? Thank you for checking out another episode of our wrestling rumors and fantasy booking episode and stuff. I'm Chubbs.
I am one take.
Social media is on the screen. Not social media isn't on the screen, but where you can go on social media to find this stuff.
Okay, so facto, regardless.
Is on the screen.
And do that.
Yeah, like, share, subscribe, what have you. So, not a lot of rumors.
So.
Did I say it like that?
So.
Not a lot of rumors from either of us.
Super serious, guys.
This time. Usually it's either I have a lot and one take has a lot, or I don't have a lot and one take has a lot.
I technically have 15.
That's a lot. I have 4.
Yeah, but I should have asked you what yours were ahead of time.
So you might have 11.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I'll just get mine out of the way.
Alright.
So, I read an article recently.
I've done that before.
That was saying that it's believed that AJ Styles actually did botch the finish of Battleground.
He did?
Yeah.
How?
I'm not sure how. Like, I think he was supposed to kick out or something. I don't...
You want to know I'm not saying that that's not true, but I feel like with him and Kevin Owens, they're too good to not have found a way to have done that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I feel like if Kevin knew he was supposed to kick out, he would have let off. You know what I mean? And another reason I have a hard time believing that is because the announcer was way too quick to announce it, and Kevin Owens' music hit too quick.
Well, I mean...
Unless they saw it and were like, crap, that's wrong, go now.
Kevin was... I mean, it was changed where Kevin was supposed to win. So his music was queued up. The announcers were told, Kevin's going to win.
Right.
It wasn't supposed to end at that point.
Right.
And it could have only been expected to go on for another, 30 seconds.
And that's probably why they ended SmackDown the way they did, because that's the way it was supposed to go, except it was supposed to be vice versa, where Kevin Owens won.
Yeah.
Because they played the ref bump again, but they actually did it properly.
Yeah, maybe. So, apparently the WWE's website messed up.
I think I heard about this.
So last Tuesday, during the John Cena Shinsuke Nakamura Dream match, Baron was originally supposed to come in towards the end of the match.
Yeah, and interrupt it,
inadvertently take out Cena.
Right.
Causing a setup for Cena Corbin at SummerSlam.
Right.
Didn't happen. He came out after SmackDown went off the air.
Now, did they do that on purpose?
Yeah.
Because I remember while I was watching it and Shinsuke was still in the ring and they're still going, I'm just like, this feels like something's supposed to be happening and it's not.
Yeah, it was on purpose.
I wasn't sure if they did it because they were just like, oh, people are going to hear about it and then they're going to go watch 205 Live.
No. So Baron, after the match, went out and attacked Shinsuke. Cena stuck up for him, hit Baron with an AA.
Through the table.
Yeah. I don't know if they're still planning Baron and Cena for...
I don't remember if it was announced or not. I don't remember. I've seen so many graphics of it. I don't remember if they were just fan-made or...
Cena is apparently okay from the bump he took.
I figure he's strong enough and flexible enough where he could have been.
Yeah. When I originally saw it, I went, ooh.
Stinger.
That wasn't right.
Everyone's trying to blame Shinsuke. I'm blaming both of them.
I'm blaming... It's a little of both. John... you have to jump a little bit.
Well,
it was like he sandbagged him.
This is what I think. I told B this. I think this is one of the times where John Cena not liking to go through all the details of the match ahead of time. He likes to call a lot of the stuff in the ring during the match. This is one of the times where it went against him. I feel like looking at it and how it happened, Cena didn't realize it was going to be an exploder. He was just thinking it was going to be a regular backdrop.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, Shinsuke knew what it was, so he gave the extra oomph to flip him, and Cena was halfway up. It's like, oh, crap. and tried to go into the flip too, but it was too late. He didn't have the momentum with it because he was thinking it was just going to be a regular backdrop.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like to me, anyways.
I mean, can we chalk that up to language barrier? Maybe he didn't know what an exploder was.
I'm going to chalk it up to just, like I said, Cena doesn't like to do too much pre-match planning. He likes to do a lot of it in the ring, and that's why he's always getting fans are always complaining that he talks too much. Because when he's in the ring, he's always talking, telling people where to go, what to do.
Even still, I would want somebody. You talk in ring also to just so you make sure that you're on the same page with as far as what's going to happen, so that you can avoid injuries like a potential one that could have happened.
Right.
By taking the exploder suplex like a German suplex. So yeah, I mean I understand. I don't even.
Right.
Like, I know that people complain that John does that, and part of me is like, okay, I can get where you're coming from.
I can too, but the same, you're watching something that's scripted and for entertainment.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if he did it and it made his matches bad. You know what I mean?
It's not like he shouts at the top of his lungs like, "Hey, I'm gonna hit you with the 5-knuckle shuffle."
Well, I'm not, because I always miss by a mile.
Yeah. It'd be one thing if it was like that, but
you know the thing is, I like John Cena's matches for the most part. Yeah, I can't stand any of his finishers.
Yeah, they're pretty lame.
The AA shouldn't be a finisher. I'm glad they have people kicking out of one of them now.
Yeah.
Because it isn't enough force to adjust anything. And his 5-knuckle shuffle is just awful.
Yeah.
Like, I get that that's more for the gimmick and the entertainment value opposed to it being a move. But
yeah, I mean it's the equivalent of the people's elbow.
yeah, his version.
Yeah.
But at least the people's elbow you could say could hurt because an elbow to the point of your sternum, opposed to knuckles missing your head by a mile.
Right. At least there's a contact with the people's elbow. Speaking of Cena, has been cast as the lead role in a Transformers spin-off movie about Bumblebee.
So basically, what they're going to do is they're going to have it where Mark Wahlberg gets juiced up, and ta-da, John Cena.
My question is this isn't going to be an origin story, is it?
I have no idea. I thought it was going to be a series, not a movie, so I don't...
Because they kind of, I mean... I don't know how they're going to do it. Because first of all, if you're going to do that, then Bumblebee... I mean, are you going to go way back and make him a Volkswagen Bug like he's supposed to be?
Maybe.
Because he's already the newer Camaro.
Right.
We're going to bring back the old Camaro? Because that only happened because it was in that first movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like Bumblebee had been that Camaro for a long time.
Right. I mean, they could just do it where... Well, it kind of be hard. I'm trying to think of how. I mean, they could do it Transformer way. I was just in my head was trying to make it realistic, like Transformers are real.
They're not?
Huh?
They're not?
No, they're
real to me, damn it.
No, I was saying because obviously new cars have computers, so you'd have the thought process of even if the car was totaled, you could take the computer system out, put it in a new one. Ta-da, still Bumblebee. But with them being Transformers, they have their own spark.
Right.
That makes them. So, I mean, you could find a way to transform it into no pun intended, into another car. So you could have it where if they did do Origins, go back where he is the Beetle for, a pop, like, hey, look at that, and then have it somehow where it's broke down, they take parts out and build it into the older Camaro. And some of the parts that...
Well, because they don't build into it. Like, it just pops up on his side and scans the vehicle that he wants to look like.
Yeah, that's true, too.
And how far are they going back? Is it going to be...
I haven't heard anything about it.
Like, is Cena going to be rocking a Jerry curl with some neon colors? You know what I mean? Like, I'm a little worried about this movie. Is
going to be a racer head?
I'm worried about this movie is what I'm getting at. Okay, back on track to wrestling and not Transformers. Because just like with this podcast, there's more than meets the eye. See what I did there?
I'm hungry.
There's a rumor that NXT could see the formation of a faction comprised of former Ring of Honor stars.
That'd be kind of cool.
I don't know. I don't remember seeing if it was
I'm
like
trying to think.
an invasion type angle or if it's just. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember who else on the roster currently is from Ring of Honor besides to Dragon again.
Huh?
Redragon.
Well, you got
Bobby Fish and
Bobby Fish.
Riley.
Oh yeah, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong.
Oh yeah, duh.
If you bring in Adam Cole.
Bye.
I mean, it could be anything of like, because in my mind, they've kind of already set up something for this. Bobby Fish lost his debut match.
Kyle O'Reilly.
Lost his debut match. Let them go on some losing streaks where they form together and just be like, you know, you guys are totally against us here in NXT. We're from Ring of Honor, whatever.
Right.
I don't know. Could be interesting.
Then have Roderick Strong be the leader because he's kind of lost some and he lost to Bobby Roode and
Yeah.
I can dig it.
Yeah, I'm with it. And the last one I have, I'm going to ask this question. I don't need to close that yet.
So she said.
Did you think that it was weird
Yeah.
on Monday Night Raw to end with Big Show and Big Cass?
Show did.
Right. A lot of people did.
You want to know why?
Because, why you thought it was weird or why it's happening? Because that's what I'm getting
No, why I thought it was weird.
Why did you think it was weird?
All right, so I get their thought process of we want to put Cass over as being thought of as a main event star.
Yeah.
It wasn't a main event match.
No.
It was decent, and it served its purpose to a point, but that was a mid-card match where the main event should have been the triple threat match.
Right.
Because when I saw that, I had to look at my clock and go, wait, what?
Right. So, here's why. Because
New Day Rocks
statistically, the third hour of Raw
is the weakest.
is the least viewed hour on the whole program.
Show this.
Consistently. So, WWE is now deciding to save that third hour for when nobody's watching, to put on matches like that, and use the end of the second hour for main event type matches.
Hoping that people will stay, or just get the good stuff out of the way and be like, screw it, they're not watching,
Which
whatever.
is dumb. Just get rid of the third hour.
More people agree with you than agree with me. I still the only reason I don't agree with you on getting rid of the third hour is because when I watch SmackDown, it feels like it's lacking.
Right. The roster's large enough to where 3 hours is acceptable, but they're not doing it right.
Right. And there's too much filler that I'd much rather them give me a quick match than give me filler stuff of things that you've already showed 2 or 3 times throughout the show.
Right.
Or stuff that has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
Get rid of that extra crap. You already have enough commercials. Get rid of this extra filler crap that's not forwarding any stories for me.
Yeah. But for the same reason that I like Ring of Honor and
I haven't watched the last couple of weeks.
in NXT is that you don't see the same superstars all the time. If you went to a 2-hour format for Raw, you would have, main event matches all the time, or at least more of them.
I don't disagree with you. It's just like I said, and like SmackDown, I like SmackDown still for the most part, but I just feel watching the show with it being 2 hours, and then I compare it to Raw, even though I get mad at Raw, like I said, with their fillers and whatnot. Watching SmackDown, I'm just like, I feel like they rushed through everything. It's just like, all right, we got the 2 hours, we got to get through crap. This is going to be short. This match is going to be okay. Could have been longer. This is going to be short. Go, 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 go.
Right.
Like, for Raw, I use a full page for notes. And sometimes I have to scribble stuff on the side because I don't want to go onto another page.
Right.
For SmackDown, I barely use a half a page. And that's writing the same stuff down. Like, you've seen my notes. I write everything that happens down. Mm-hmm. Even if it's just, like, if the show, say, for example, Monday Night Raw opens, itchy nose. Monday Night Raw opens with a recap of something. I write that down. Opened with recap of such and such. And then the first actual live segment, I write that down. So I write everything down as it happens.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like when I do SmackDown, I just do the matches. I do the same exact stuff, and I still barely cover a half a page. Like, I put NXT and SmackDown on one page this week, and I had enough room to scribble 3 lines out of the way.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that quantity is quality. I'm just saying that if WWE found a better way, in my opinion, to get rid of some of that filler crap that's not needed, even if each filler thing they did was only a minute to 2 minutes long, that probably accumulates to anywhere to 10 to 20 minutes. That's 10 to 20 minutes that could be segments used for actual storylines that are in the show you have going on, a match, or minutes that could be added onto matches that you already have. They could even take that time to start trying to get the friggin' cruiserweights over.
Yeah. Well, they could.
I'm just using examples. I'm not saying that's what I want. I'm just saying.
It's going to take a lot for me to start caring about the cruiserweights all of a sudden.
You want to know what made me? The match they had on Raw this week, the tag team, was a really good tag team match. And then, I'm going to say his name wrong. I always do, even though I know how to say it, but my brain gets retarded. Gran Metalik? No?
No.
One of the masked luchas.
Okay.
Dude's a beast. He's back on 205 Live. Okay. He had a match with Tony Nese. I saw 3 parts of it, and I was like, I want to watch 205 just to watch him.
Oh, he's a little guy, isn't he?
He's average. I bet he's about the same height as Tony Nese, maybe a little bit taller.
Oh, I'm thinking of somebody else then.
But they were letting him do, like, lucha stuff. Like, he was doing rope stuff.
Yeah.
Like, crazy stuff where I was like, about time. But no, I could grab my notes right now to prove my point. I don't need to prove it to you because you know what I'm talking about. But I don't need to see a recap segment 3 times in one show.
Right.
Like, you're going to show me something in the second hour of the show. Oh, in case you just tuned in an hour and 34 minutes into the show, here's your recap of what you... No. If you tuned in this late, that's your own damn fault.
I feel like if they got rid of the recaps...
Get rid of the stuff that's filler.
And limit the commercials, they could fit their 3-hour program into 2 hours.
No, you're right. They probably could.
Which would make it better anyway.
No, you're probably right. They could. I just feel... I would need to see SmackDown do stuff where I don't feel like they're rushing their show, where I could 100% agree with you. Like, I get your point, and I get what you're saying. But, like I said, even with all the filler and the stuff I complain about Raw, and sometimes I'm like, all right, this show does feel like it's dragging on a little bit, mainly because you're boring me with stuff that's not needed. It's I can't think of a SmackDown. Every SmackDown I watch, I'm like, this is the main event already?
That's why I say break it up like Ring of Honor does and NXT do, where you're not seeing the same superstars every week, and so it's every other week for some of them.
I don't disagree with that either, but
then you're not rushing to fill everything into one episode.
Vince won't do that because his thought process is every show should be like the last one because we're taking it that somebody's here that's never seen it, so we needed to make it what they haven't seen.
Yeah.
Instead of having the thought process of we're just going to put out a show that's entertaining and the people that haven't seen before go, all right, I'm going to go back and watch stuff.
Right.
I'm going to get a subscription to the network because I want to see old stuff. Ta-da.
Way late.
Huh?
Well, yeah.
No, I'm talking like
90s.
No, you're right. But I was just saying, it'd be a way for them to be able to still advertise the network.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, what is it, like a year or 2 later?
For Raw?
Yeah, to be on the network.
No, it's like a few weeks.
Oh, okay.
But like that's my answer to you on how, because I get where SmackDown feels rushed.
And
and 2 hours on Raw would feel rushed.
But
breaking it up
to make it last
To-
opposed
yeah.
to no, I
Because
get you.
then you're getting longevity out of your superstars because they're not wrestling as much.
Yeah, because they're basically wrestling 6 days a week.
Yeah. Plus training, plus traveling.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a big reason a lot of guys went from WWF at the time to WCW. Not only were they promised more money with guaranteed contracts, it was less travel
Yeah.
and less work.
Yeah.
Rather than 300 days a year.
Yeah, because they pre-taped WCW, didn't they? No, they started doing live. Didn't they originally pre-tape?
No, they pre-taped WWF.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
I always get that
But
confused.
rather than do 300 days of work a year,
they
it
were doing
was
265.
180.
Oh, really? Damn.
Yeah, or even 200. So that was like, why wouldn't you? I don't know. Whatever.
I get both arguments for that as well, but I get what you're saying.
I have two more that I just remembered.
Oh, okay.
One that I wanted to mention last week. WWE filed for the trademark on Taboo Tuesday,
Oh, yeah.
which was a pay-per-view name that was renamed Cyber Sunday because that makes more sense because pay-per-views are on Sunday. So the thought is that they're going to bring back Taboo Tuesday.
Yeah, and have it.
Possibly just use it for SmackDown events.
Right.
Since SmackDown is on Tuesday.
Right.
But at least the gimmick of fan voting for stipulations will come back. Which somebody was interviewed about it.
It's totally not for me, but today's social media society, it totally makes sense.
Somebody, I think it was Bruce Pritchard with GFW now, was working with WWE back then, said that it was legit. Granted, they would stack the votes, like stack the options, so that people would be persuaded to go one way or another. But it was still legit. The fans voted for that.
Yeah.
Which I thought is cool.
No, it's definitely like I said, it's not for me because I don't.
Right.
Which kind of sounds funny because as much as we talk about wrestling and ideas we have and whatnot, you think that'd be totally up our alley.
Right.
Well, I'm more of the thought of trying to book a whole match opposed to a stipulation.
Yeah.
But that's a good idea.
And the other one I have is, so the rumor is, this is a potential spoiler.
Oh,
I have two more actually.
Before you go into that, then, because it goes with the WWE trying to get. I'm so retarded. What you just said.
Yeah.
They've filed for trademarks for a long list of guys on the roster for merchandising reasons. Johnny Gargano is one of them. Candice LeRae. Whole list. I don't even remember all the names.
Okay.
That's it.
These are two potential spoilers for SummerSlam. So, if you don't want to hear them, too bad.
I'm giving you this look in case I don't want to hear them. Yeah, go for it. I probably already heard them anyways.
Brock Lesnar will retain and then drop the belt to Samoa Joe at No Mercy.
Heard that. Hoping it stays a rumor because other reasons I'll give after your second.
And then the other one is that Shinsuke is in line to defeat Jinder Mahal only to have Baron Corbin cash in.
Yeah.
Which I get because there's no point in having a heel take the title off a heel.
Right.
B, it'll get more heel heat for Baron.
Way more.
And C, it just lets Shinsuke add WWE champion to his resume.
Right.
So
that one I believe is more apt to happen, obviously just in my opinion, than your first one. I say that because I feel like as much money as they pay Brock Lesnar and as much of a draw as he actually is, having him lose the belt based on how they normally do things, which they've been trying to get away from, which so makes sense for that rumor. I feel like if they're going to have him lose the belt, it's going to be at one of their bigger named pay-per-views opposed to the B ones of like No Mercy, Battleground, and those ones.
Right. I mean, because the thought of Lesnar leaving if he loses at SummerSlam, it's not happening because he's already scheduled for No Mercy.
Right.
And he's already booked for like 3 or 4 dates between SummerSlam and No Mercy.
Right.
So
but
he's already booked, so you've already paid him for it.
Yeah.
He's not going to just say, I'm not coming.
Good.
He could, but
it is Brock.
Yeah, but it's not.
Did you hear?
That'd be a breach of contract. WWE would sue him to get that money back.
Well, he could also be like, hey, let's work out a compromising deal. Get me out of my contract. I can start my training for my fight. Blah blah.
That's not even gonna, because once he re-enters into the testing pool for
He already
UFC, I read that he hasn't.
He has.
I like the other day read that he hasn't.
Yeah, the USADA.
Yeah.
Yeah, he entered. There was somebody that actually had the leaked information of his name being in it and being put back into it.
Okay, because I read an article.
I've seen both. I'm not saying
like
that you're wrong. I've seen
2
both.
2 days ago that said that there was an original statement saying that he had, and that it was false.
Yeah, and I saw another one that said that they're just trying to, because they. I'm trying to remember how to word it.
Has he filed the paperwork to get re-entered and not actually re-entered?
I heard the stuff just the other day, and I'm just not remembering fully.
Oh.
I've heard both where it was BS, and I've heard more that have said that he did file and is trying to get back into. He's getting back into the blood testing program.
Because even still, he's got to serve his suspension,
which will
he
be until
hasn't served any.
He's got 5 months left, because when he retired from UFC, it paused what he'd already served.
I didn't think he served any.
No, he did a little bit.
Because he retired pretty much immediately after that match.
Either way, he's got 5 months left of it, from what I've heard. And he wouldn't be eligible to fight until December.
That's only 4 months.
That was based on the rumors of him being in the program as of the beginning of last month. Or the end of June, I mean.
I'm going to have to look it up, but either way, the feeling is that he won't fight John Jones in December. He'll actually get moved to a match in July of next year, because there's like some national or international MMA day in July.
Okay.
I don't know. Where it's like it's a big deal for them to have a fight.
Sure.
Like there will be a UFC pay-per-view on that day.
Right.
And the thought being that Dana White's going to want to put together the biggest card possible. So include Brock versus John Jones. Try to get Ronda Rousey back.
It's Dana White. He's going to do whatever to get money regardless. That's why he's letting Conor agree to the Floyd match. He sees the money in that.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see. I don't know.
The rumors I heard is one of the reasons they did the Paul Heyman and Brock segment is because Brock was going to lose, and he was possibly trying to work an agreement out with WWE to end his contract early so he could get going on other UFC stuff.
Word.
Either way, my personal preference is that they have him lose at SummerSlam to a Joe, but not the annoying one. And annoy. And I'm saying that as a Roman fan. I feel like I'll do a quick fantasy book for you. What I want them to do.
Excuse me.
Exudenheiden.
Thanks.
I don't think I told you this. I know I told B. I could have told you as well. I don't remember. What I want them to do is I want them to have Samoa Joe win the belt. He'll be the temporary placeholder for the belt for a while. And since they're not going to have Roman win it, in my opinion here, or my fantasy booking, Roman doesn't win it. And since he doesn't win it, they can then tie him into helping Dean and Seth. Throw the fans a bone of reuniting the Shield. Use that as your key to help people realize that they don't hate Roman as much as they think they do. Because, I mean, look at 2 weeks ago. People were cheering for Roman
Right.
because they wanted him to come out to reunite the Shield. So that just proves how dumb they are. So throw the fans a full bone instead of a 3/4 of a bone. Have Roman come out and actually help Seth and Dean win the tag team championships. And then have him do other stuff with them up until not WrestleMania, up until Royal Rumble or Survivor Series, where then he can win the belt back from Joe, and then have the WrestleMania stuff go whatever way they were going to, if it was going to be with Cena or however the hell they're going to do it. But that gives them more, because if they have Roman win the championship against Brock in SummerSlam, the Fatal 4-Way, people are going to be pissed. Just because they still don't like Roman, I put in quotation marks. So if you have Joe win it and then give Roman the time to work with Dean and Seth to kind of work on trying to get him over and more appreciated, and then, hell, even have Dean and Seth find a way to not interfere but technically help him win the belt back, or win the belt from Samoa Joe. Then it protects Joe. Roman, hopefully by then, could possibly be over. Possibly even have a heel turn, since that'd be great. And then, ta-da. I just feel like that affords them more of a chance to have time to get Roman over. Because he's not.
Right.
Alright, that's all I got for that.
Sorry, so I'm reading this article as you were talking.
Yeah, I know, that's why I didn't hear anything I said.
This is from 3 days ago, saying that there's a possibility that Lesnar is already in the USADA testing pool, but the fact is being hidden. But this...
Which technically is supposed to be private information, isn't it?
I don't think so.
Oh, no, that's only for test results. No.
This site says that they've got the UFC's drug testing liaison saying that Brock isn't being tested, but maybe he doesn't know somehow, or the UFC is once again using any means necessary to keep his return a secret until they're ready to reveal it.
Right. I got another rumor for that when you're done.
So if he's not in it, if he were to enter it this week, he wouldn't be eligible to fight for the UFC until February. But Lesnar's also commented saying that he's going to fulfill his WWE contract, which ends at WrestleMania 34.
Right.
So that includes an appearance at the Royal Rumble in January.
Right.
I don't see Vince saying, "Okay, we're going to let you go ahead and fight in the UFC while you're under contract with us," because say he gets badly hurt.
Right.
So, I don't know.
So, speaking of those two and that, did you hear the rumor of how WWE decided to let Brock go do his last UFC fight?
No.
Supposedly, Vince agreed to have an arm wrestling contest with Brock, and if Brock beat him, he'd let him go have his UFC fight.
Well, that was dumb.
I know, right?
That's pretty much just saying, I'm going to let you do it.
I don't know. Obviously, it was a rumor, so I don't know how true it was, but if it was true, I feel like that's just Vince going, I'm going to let you go, but let's have some fun with this. Or Vince is literally just so cocky that he's like, I could beat him. All right, you ready for my BS?
Almost. According to an exclusive report from PW Stream, rumors around Brock Lesnar dropping the Universal Championship and leaving for the UFC are all one giant attempt to maximize intrigue for the August pay-per-view. In short, expect Brock Lesnar to retain at SummerSlam. They wrote remain, because apparently you don't have to be good.
So they're going to say remain champion and didn't.
Apparently, if you want to write for news sources, you don't have to have any sort of credibility in the English department.
Or you can blame the editors, because they're supposed to go through that.
True. Yeah, so I don't know.
It could be a ploy. It might not be.
Guess we'll just have to wait and see.
All right, so let's start with my rumors. Some of mine are like from the beginning of the week, because I start looking, well, once we're done with the recording on Saturday. So John Cena's already advertised for the No Mercy pay-per-view, which is September 24th, and is also a Raw pay-per-view.
Okay, that's why I had that look on my face. I forgot he's a free agent.
It was initially rumored that Becky Lynch and Chris Cyborg were going back and forth on Twitter because they were possibly going to have a match, possibly at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And that they started doing that on purpose to, have hype for it. Supposedly that's not going anywhere. There was one rumor that they already had Chris Cyborg already ready for a contract signing and everything.
This is what I would rather have happen.
Not.
Let that lead into WrestleMania, where then Ronda Rousey sticks up for Becky Lynch or whoever Cyborg is trying to fight, and let that lead into a Cyborg Rousey MMA
UFC
fight. Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. You already said the Taboo Tuesday one. They've already canned the R-Truth show that he was going to be doing on WWE Network. Yeah.
That sucks.
Did we talk about this last week? I don't remember. I know you and I and B have. I don't remember if we talked about it on the show, but so Global Fourth Wrestling, TNA had 4 that I remember trademarks denied.
Yeah.
That had to do with the broken universe. Some because it had to do with actual living people and names, so they had to get credit. Yeah, we did talk about that. That's funny. And even though I don't think I have this in my, but since I'm already talking about TNA, so Moose signed an extension, a 3-year extension with them. That kind of sucks.
Just in time to lose the belt to EC3 last week or next week.
I thought he already lost it.
Yeah, well he did, but it hasn't been aired yet.
Oh, okay.
That's how far in advance they're recording stuff. Yeah.
Wow. I told you and B about this. So the Observer was reporting that WWE is doing their damnedest to protect the Universal title match results to the point where no one will be told the finish until the last minute. Which I kind of like, but in the same, I feel like that's what they do anyways.
The only way you do that is if you have Seth win, because Seth is not Seth. Braun. The only way you have that happen is if you have Braun win.
Yeah, because everyone's kind of expecting one of the other 3 to win.
Right. I expect, given everything, I expect Brock to win number 1. Then I expect Joe.
And then Joe.
Because Roman, the end game is for Roman to have it.
Right.
They're not going to pull the trigger now.
It is so much smarter for them to not have Roman win at SummerSlam.
Right. Which makes me think that they might actually do that.
Yeah. Sadly.
I don't know. Have Braun win it, and everybody will be surprised.
The other good news for that is that the other rumor has been that Paul Heyman is, no pun intended, being a huge advocate for Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
In general, and to win that match.
But I also heard that he wants him to win against Brock in a one-on-one match.
You could work that in later.
Which makes me think, he could win, and then they have their rematch.
Yeah.
But it makes more sense.
Wait, before you say this, just because wouldn't you think, in wrestling-wise, it would make more sense then for Joe to win? Because he's already had a one-on-one match that he lost. Therefore, he doesn't technically get a rematch. He's in a fatal 4-way, and if he loses that, that's like saying you've already had your chances. No? Sorta?
Yes and no.
Okay.
If he's not the one that eats the pin.
Yeah. And he can argue I wasn't the one that lost the match.
He could be just about to choke somebody out, and then Lesnar comes in, picks him up, hits him with the F5, and then pins whoever he was choking out.
Right. And
then he could just say, well, I set up the win for you, so... And
Tag team partners.
Yeah, pretty much.
We already said about the Baron. So WWE is still trying to cut costs.
That's how you do it.
And they're also getting rid of more stuff on the network to try to cut costs, which you wouldn't think a lot of that would be that expensive. You'd think they'd record
Here's
a
how
lot
you
at the same
cut
time.
costs. Stop advertising for the network on the network.
Or the pay-per-view that you're watching advertising that pay-per-view.
Right. I just thought of a total swerve. Let Baron Corbin cash in on the Universal title.
That'd be great.
Won't happen because the
No.
contract's for WWE. Well, it doesn't. This is where I'm so confused on that, especially with having two major titles, or
Right.
just having multiple titles. Is it a contract for the WWE Heavyweight Championship, or is it for a WWE Championship?
Well, it used to be the championship, the big one, but since they're split brand, there's two of them.
Right.
Well, the only like that'd be cool, but the only well, I won't say the only reason. One of the reasons they won't is because Baron is SmackDown's Braun, so you're not gonna have them both on the same. And plus, they got
Send Cass over to SmackDown.
makes sense, but whatevs. SummerSlam is looking to be a 5.5 to 6 hour show. I'm remotely okay with it.
It depends. I mean, if the
better than
quality
8.
matches the
Yeah,
quantity,
it can't be.
all
It
for
can't
it.
be like WrestleMania where it's just an 8 hour show
right?
of whoa, look at all this shiny stuff going boom, boom, boom. Matches
Yeah.
are okay.
And the fact that they have to live up to a takeover show
Mm-hmm.
the night before it
Yeah,
does not bode well.
does not.
NXT. This is what you should. This is what they need to do. Get rid of all these little pay-per-views, like Backlash and No Mercy. Maybe
Mhm.
not all of them.
The
But
pointless ones.
Have more NXT pay-per-views, and then just keep your major main roster pay-per-views.
Major pay-per-views on me now.
You know?
I'm not against that because they only do like what 5 NXT ones a year.
I mean, they
They do SummerSlam, WrestleMania,
Royal
Survivor
Rumble.
Series, Royal
do
Rumble.
they do Survivor Series?
I don't know. I'm guessing
I don't think they do.
they should. I'm just guessing because that's one of their main roster big
They've been
pay-per-views.
doing 3, but then they added one for Backlash.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. Ho Ho Loon.
Yeah, I heard
They
that.
released him.
Yeah.
I guess he requested it. He's going back to Hong Kong, I guess.
Didn't B like Ho Ho Loon?
He's decent.
He was in a match recently, and
Yeah.
B was upset that he pretty much jobbed out in the match.
Wasn't it against McIntyre though?
Maybe, yeah. Sounds about right.
Okay. This one kind of bugs me. So it's still rumored that Bayley actually did get hurt
Yes.
last Monday. Some people are saying that they're not 100% sure if it's legit or not because usually when a superstar gets hurt, the dirt sheets are all over it because they get information leaked to them. And there hasn't been many that are actually fully reporting as it being 100% truth.
Mhm.
So some of it is thought that she was injured in story and they're using it to get sympathy for her. And there's the other thought process that they're going to use it where, all right, so there's one rumor that I have. The current expectation is that Bayley is going to be removed from the Raw Women's Championship match at SummerSlam, and they'll figure out a new contender at Raw on Monday.
Right.
So there's another rumor that they're going to do that, and then if they have the other person win, which would probably be Sasha, Bayley would come back and be like, hey, that was my opportunity. I get my shot. And then,
That would certainly help for the Sasha heel turn.
yeah. And there's also been the rumor that it might end up just being where Bayley turns heel, where she comes back and is just like, I'm sick of this. People taking advantage of me, taking my opportunities, people trying to hurt me, and
As
then
long
she
as-
just gets angry and just heals up.
Again, she need to change her music. And
Oh,
two,
she'll have to change her music
They-
fully.
they'd need to do it in a way that didn't make her seem like a angry 5-year-old.
That's what they do with all the women, in my
When
opinion.
I hear Bayley heel, I just think of
Temper tantrum?
yes,
Yeah.
like laying down in the supermarket, flailing your arms against the floor and stomping your
That's
feet.
why I'm saying what they needed to do with her, which they've started to, is start having her be more aggressive in matches,
Yeah.
which they kind of had. But this one, I'm just gonna say it because I have it, but Randy Orton and John Cena are missing some house shows. No reasons why. I'm guessing because they're old, but they aren't expected to miss any of the TV recordings. The Observer is noting that Tyler Bate, Trent Seven, Wolfgang, Pete Dunne, and Mark Andrews are going to be brought to the States for WWE work in a few weeks, but nobody's really said what for. That's it. Supposedly the UK show has kind of been pushed back a little bit because they're trying to get, I don't remember what.
Is there not that much of a potential following for it?
I don't know. I want to see it. I
mean,
like the UK tournament.
I want to. Well, I want to see them wrestle, but I don't necessarily want to see them in their own show. Like the cruiserweights, I don't watch their show.
Combine them and the cruiserweight.
Is it possible that the failing of 205 Live is making them hesitant of making a separate show?
Possibly.
Because you're trying to cut down on production
Well,
costs.
I was going to say that's probably why, too, because then they'd have to, production-wise, it would be like doing another full show all by itself,
Right.
opposed to why they do 205 the way they do is so they don't have to do that.
Right.
But I also don't know if technically the wrestlers are through Progress and they're working with Progress. I don't know if they'd help out with any of the costs. I don't know if they'd actually be doing the show in the States or in the UK.
It would be in the UK.
You'd think so.
It would be where they had the tournament.
Right. So you'd think that Progress or whoever there would probably help with some of the costs. I don't know that. I'm just saying.
Right. I just say bring them over.
I want to see him, especially after seeing the Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate match. And a lot of the UK matches are like that as far as being hard-hitting. I want to see that stuff.
Either add them all to the NXT roster or add them to the SmackDown roster.
Yep.
And make it 3 hours.
So WWE, who had a contract offer on the table for Lo Shirai, I always say her name wrong, the other Japanese chick that was pretty much as popular-ish as Hojo.
Yeah.
But when they brought her over,
that's right.
they had her do some physical stuff, and they found out that she had a neck injury, and they wanted her to do some rehab stuff, and then when she got done with the rehab stuff, as long as she got the go-ahead, they were going to sign her.
Right.
She did all the rehab stuff that they wanted, got the go, and then they took the contract anyways.
Yeah, apparently they're very skeptical about signing people with past neck injuries and concussion issues.
Yeah, because of the CTE stuff. And,
yeah.
I mean, I get it, but in the same, protect your wrestlers.
Yeah.
And you could also argue that for her, for example, it could be that even though Stardom is a pretty well-known and established program,
right,
you still get some crappy wrestlers over there.
Yeah.
So if you're with better wrestlers, you have a less chance of getting hurt.
Yep.
I think that's all I got for my rumors. Yeah, because I already said how Moose re-signed. I do have another one which was kind of funny. So I guess that Global Force was trying to get in a contract with what's that seafood company? Jimmy's Seafood? Is that it? No.
I don't know. I didn't look into it, but
You know
I know
what I'm talking. I know what it is. I think it's Jimmy's Seafood. Either way, they're popular with a lot of the wrestlers. And I've heard that the owner's kind of a d-bag, but I've seen some people post some tweets from the guy, and he's kind of a retard.
Yeah.
But supposedly they reached out to Jimmy's Seafood. That's what I'm seeing in my head. I think that's right. The seafood place, saying that they wanted to work on, having them have promotions with them and advertisements and whatnot. And they basically flat out said that if they released the rights to the Hardys, Broken Gimmick to the Hardys, they'd have talks with them, but not until then.
Nice.
I laughed pretty good.
That is pretty funny. Yeah, I don't know. The longer this takes, the more I'm like, just don't do it.
Oh, they're already starting to do it just a different way, which I kind of like.
Yeah, but I don't want them to be called the Woken Hardys.
I don't think they're going to be. I think that's just going to be kind of their mantra behind it. That they went from, being asleep and now they're awake and they'll work their way into Broken.
I guess we'll see. Anyway, fantasy booking. We agreed on because the next superstar shakeup is happening sometime between this month and probably November, Survivor Series. Uh, we decided to
Do our version.
yeah. Thank you. Do you want to go first?
Mine's not gonna be all that long, just because like I thought about it all week, but I was just like, there's too many wrestlers to get the whole roster and go and do this and break down like, all right, this would be a good one, that would be a good one. So I did it how I'd prefer it to happen anyways, which it won't, but it's fantasy booking. Duh. So my thought is what I want them to do is get rid of some pay-per-views, like the unneeded ones. Like having two pay-per-views a month, right,
Yeah.
is ridiculous.
Yes.
Go back to having one a month or one every month and a half, whatever, and make all of them cross-brand. So say there's 8 matches, have 4 from each roster, and then have 2 in the pre-show, 1 from each roster. With that being said, have certain matches where you can have certain people from one of the other brands interfere or have altercations of some sort with somebody on the other brand. Therefore, you can start other feuds, and then based on when the pay-per-view is over, because my thought process is where pay-per-views are where feuds end and new ones begin. Therefore, if you do it in the pay-per-view, you'll have one. Well, I'm just going to use this one for example because it popped into my head. We have AJ and Kevin Owens going at each other, and whoever wins the match at SummerSlam, that feud should be over technically.
I mean, if AJ wins.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
If Kevin wins, then they
Can keep
AJ
going
gets
with
a
it.
rematch.
I'm just using this for example because they popped into my head. So we'll say, for sake of argument and for my getting to the point, AJ wins, that feud's over. When AJ's celebrating or goes to the back, maybe have whatever the match is supposed to be next, whoever the heel is in the next match comes out early and bumps into AJ like, yeah, we get it, you won, get the hell out of here. Your match is over with, it's my time. And that starts a possibility for them having a feud. And then instead of doing a shake-up, you do trades throughout the entire year after certain pay-per-views, like basically 1 for 1 or a 2 for 2. Instead of doing, all right, we're going to ship 10 over to you, we're getting 8. And then...
Could you have a trade deadline?
No, it's literally throughout, like, it should be WrestleMania to WrestleMania, in my opinion.
Okay.
Like, WrestleMania should be the starting point and the end point, I guess you could say. But this, in my opinion, this way you do it, people aren't going to... I feel like you'll have less of the issue they did with the last shake-up, where it's like it was just a hodgepodge of crap because creative didn't know what to do. This way, you have fewer people to work with in the shake-up or the trades, so it's easier, in my opinion. And I feel like this would make it more organic, opposed to, all right, you get 5, we get 5 on the trade, figure out some storylines with all those guys. And then they're just like, oh crap, this one didn't work, that one didn't work, this one didn't work. Now you got 1 and 2 people you got to do. So if that were the case, I don't know off the top of my head who it would be. Like so in this case, since AJ won, I'd say he could go to Raw, but he's the champion, so he'd stay on SmackDown. So Kevin Owens would go back to Raw, and whoever the person was that came out and was like, AJ, get the hell out of here, you already got it, my match is next. They'd end up going to SmackDown. So then you could do that a couple times throughout the year, like 2 or 3 times, and then still have the roster shake up, have some new storylines, have some new feuds, but not be it as completely chaotic as it was when they do the full shake up. And I feel like if they do it right, it can be more of a surprise. Opposed to, like, I guess the draft kind of was because you didn't necessarily know. But I feel like doing it on a small scale, it'll come off better and you have more, wow, I didn't think that I was going to get to see that type deal. And it could be a matter of, like, all right, they had their feud with them. We can work some stuff out to ship them back. You know, I don't know. That was just my idea. That's what I'd rather see instead of them doing a wholesale shakeup. I'd rather see a couple feuds be the shakeup and some trades opposed to large numbers of wrestlers. Think about how awesome that would have been opposed to having Bray Wyatt in part of the draft going to Raw, keep him on SmackDown, have a proper feud to finish with Orton, and then have somebody in one of their pay-per-views mess with Bray, have it be Finn by accident or something like that. And then that starts where now Bray comes to Raw. And you could also do it, this just kind of popped into my head, you could also do it in a way where instead of doing it at pay-per-views, have somebody just show up at one of the shows, one of the live shows, not the pay-per-views. And that's how you start, like, oh, I'm here now, by the way, because I heard you say such and such, and I didn't like it. I'm going to kick your honey. Like, find ways to make it a surprise to the fans, is what I'm getting at. I.e., Jericho showing up 2 weeks ago and not very many people knowing, and it being a surprise. Find ways to do that where a guy just shows up on Raw and they're like, yeah, I'm here because so-and-so was running their mouth. I'm just going off top, by the way. I don't really have any legit thought process behind it making full sense. I'm just getting at, I want more surprise. I want more variety and less chaoticness to it. And I feel like if they do it that way, they stand a better chance of not having their ratings drop even more because, oh, we're in the middle of feuds, let's switch it up.
Right.
That's really all I got.
Okay. This isn't mine, but I like my idea of having a trade deadline because some of the more exciting times in sports during the season.
Yeah, I can't disagree
deadline.
that. When you said that in my head, I was just trying to think of how to stay on track and think of the trade deadline. But also,
you need trades. Like, what's the point of trading? You know what I mean? Like, if you wanted to make Raw and SmackDown and NXT all their own show, which they are, there needs to be something. So, like at Survivor Series, you have your Raw versus SmackDown.
Right.
Make it a Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT, where you need to win something.
Yeah, or losing is double bad. Like, it's not, oh, we lost the match. It's like you lost and this is happening.
Yeah, like there needs to be a reason for wanting to say, well, we'll trade you so-and-so to get that person. Because we think they'll help us win better.
Yeah, that's kind of why that's why I was kind of thinking with my thing with it, you know, with them starting more feuds with people, and that led to trades, opposed to just being like, oh, we're going to trade people.
It's hard because this is something that goes year long.
Yeah.
And it's not like there's a legit off season and there's...
Right, that's kind of why when you said trade deadline, I was like, I don't know how to do it.
You could have the trade... I mean, if you made Survivor Series... Move Survivor Series to December. Just move it back a month from November to December. Have that be technically the end of the season, right? Winner gets something. Chicken dinner. Loser loses something.
Chicken dinner.
Like one of the... If they... Like the losing team...
Everyone in the losing team's not allowed a championship match for 6 months.
Yeah, or the winning team gets to take a member of the losing team.
Yeah, something.
And then make the trade deadline be
the end of the trades.
October-ish. So it's like, okay, when they start gearing up for Survivor Series, there's a trade deadline. They're trying to bolster their team to compete for that.
Right.
I don't know. That's just an idea I had as you.
No, you could add that in there. That's definitely a cool thought.
But what I would do for this roster shakeup that they're going to do again
is not.
Well, I would say just don't make them separate shows. But whatever.
I like the separate shows, but I get you.
I think that Cena should stay a free agent.
Agreed.
I think Brock should become a free agent.
Agreed even more.
And then I think NXT, I think Sami Zayn and Ty Dillinger should go back to NXT.
Ty Dillinger especially, just because they're not using. Sammy they're using, but he's
He's just been eating pins.
Yeah.
Also send Dolph to NXT.
You think he'd be willing to?
And bring back Roman and Harper and put them on NXT.
Rowan and Harper, yeah.
And add a mid-card belt to NXT.
And the main rosters. Another one. I want a TV championship, damn it.
I agree, but what's more likely to happen? NXT follows suit and has a second major title?
If they add another hour, they'll add another belt.
So Raw, I would give AJ Styles and all the tag teams.
They won't do that. I have one when you're done.
Why not, though?
Because they're not going to have all the tag teams on one.
And then SmackDown gets Roman.
That'd be kind of cool, though.
Yeah, right? SmackDown gets Roman.
Make SmackDown all the tag teams.
SmackDown gets Big Cass. SmackDown gets the Cruiserweight division. Because they're already there for 205 Live anyway. Or just get rid of the Cruiserweight division from the main roster since you're not having them fight main roster people.
You know what they need to do, too, if they're going to keep 205? Put Kalisto in that crap.
Yeah.
Like, he shows up now and it's like, oh, he's still here? He's good, but put him with the other Cruiserweights.
And then I would also give SmackDown all the women.
That one I can agree with more than the tag teams just because there's so few women that they need to be all together.
It's just the tag team division is... And NXT obviously would have their tag teams and their women because they have the tag team titles and the women's title. But yeah, the way the tag teams are split, it's like you have... I mean, Raw obviously has more top-tier tag teams than SmackDown. Barely.
I guess.
But still, you're looking at 3 or 4.
3 on each. I mean, so you got Raw that has the Good Brothers, the Hardys, the Revival, Sheamus and Cesaro.
I'm not even counting. No, get rid of them. Only tag teams.
Well, you gotta include them. They're the champs right now.
Okay, well, they're gonna lose the titles anyway.
Well, yeah, but they still are, though.
Get rid of these force-made tag teams.
All right, so on SmackDown you have New Day, the Usos, Fandango, and the Fashion Fellas.
Yeah.
I already forgot who I said.
There's the Ascension.
Yeah,
barely.
so technically you've got 3 on SmackDown because they got rid of American Alphas.
But you really only have 2 legit ones right now because Breezango...
They're good in the ring at least.
I'm not saying they're terrible. I'm not saying they're bad.
They're not the Colons.
They're not in the tag team picture right now, as far as for the titles.
For the titles.
Because it's New Day and the Usos.
Yeah, but that...
And it's going to be New Day and the Usos for a while.
For a little bit, yeah.
After the Usos, it's just going to be New Day retaining.
Until AOP comes up.
Yeah. Or...
Should have been DIY.
War Machine gets signed.
Don't
Yeah, and it should have been DIY. But, you know what I mean? And then Raw is... it's going to go from Sheamus and Cesaro to Dean and Seth.
Yeah.
And then where do you go from there? Are you going to allow the Good Brothers to finally get back there?
They might end up, but either
or
way...
it's going to be the Revival.
Yeah.
And the Good Brothers are still going to stay on the back burner. At least where if you have all the teams on one show, you've got more matchups that you can do.
No, I agree with you.
And then
I just feel like... All right, so let me say it this way. First, I'm going to say I feel like by doing it that way, there's going to be more guys that we're not seeing enough because they're not going to use them. They're going to find, we got these 4 that are the more popular ones. The other ones are total back burner. Unless they did what we were saying earlier in the show, stop with all this filler crap, give us more actual matches and stories and stuff. Ta-da.
Yeah.
That'll help fill and fit your 3 hours full of actual stuff that people want to watch.
I mean, you could still you could still rotate rather than go full on like Ring of Honor and NXT where you're rotating all the superstars, so you're only seeing them every couple weeks or every other week. Do it with the tag teams on one division, where 1 week you're going to see this team, and then the next week you see.
I feel like there should always be 3 teams involved for a rotating feud purpose. That's just my thought process.
Either way, there's. I would be okay if you put all the tag teams on one division.
I mean, I'm not against it.
Right.
I can see the arguments both ways.
And definitely the women should be on one division.
That one I definitely could agree with more. Like I said, there's not enough of them that are fully talented enough to have them split. They have 4 to 5 on thinking off top that are worthwhile to watch in the ring as far as wrestling goes.
And that's as a whole.
Yeah, that's all of them.
Right. Split up, you've got 2 and then 3.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe 6 total if it really, really came down to it.
Yeah. And also, just real quick, anybody that's looking forward to Naomi versus Natalya, stop watching wrestling because you don't get it. That's all I got.
Me too.
All right. Social media on the screen. Like, share, subscribe, all that.
Who knows next week what the fantasy book is going to be.
Nobody knows.
It's a mystery.
Because we're not WWE. Surprise!
Cock back.
Deuces.
Double deuces.